draft. It's Nova on your blue side. PSG on red after their victory up against Machi, looking to make it a 2-0 start for their first day here in summer. Nova making their debut with Golden Feet. As you mentioned, Trundle might be one of those go-to picks for Ryan, but they actually are the ones that ban it out.
And the thing about this is that they're now saying, look, we're probably going to pick a tank jungler, so we may as well just ban out the Trundle so you can't shred his stats. I'd say actually this does indicate that Ryan could be going for a Jarvan, but time will tell just what this Nova jungler does pick for himself.
Yeah, the Jarvan was kind of one of his fallbacks, especially when a lot of his go-tos were taken off the table or started to fall a little bit out of meta. We'll see the Nidalee also getting banned out here away from River. You know what? Nova said, we're kind of feeling he's been a bit too aggressive, a little bit too successful when it comes to having that champion. Meanwhile, PSG get rid of the Varus away from Golden Feet as well as the set.
Yeah, now we're looking towards that bot laner pool just being trimmed out a little bit more. Maybe you take out the Aphelios here if you're PSG, or maybe you say, look, you take Ezreal, we'll take Aphelios, or we'll play either side of that matchup, depending on how you want to play this out.
All right, so Kalista actually being banned out here on the side of Nova. Meanwhile, PSG also going to get rid of the Syndra. So what does Nova want to do here? Aphelios is available. Do you just want to try and get something, that power pick immediately locked in? Or, you know, are we going to see something else like a Sivir like we saw with JT?
So the thing about Aphelios and Ezreal in particular is that both of these champions can either be played through or just left alone in weak side while they clear waves from a distance. Not going to be an AD carry pick at all. Going to be kind of a marksman, like a pseudo marksman picked up though, as we do have a jungler locked in for Ryan.
Okay, so that is going to be Ryan on the Graves this time. So he gets to be the one that gets up and aggressive, and we'll see whether or not that's going to be the case. That does mean, though, for Unified, he gets his go to Aphelios if he wishes, as that's available and locked in for PSG.
Hanabi insta-locking that for Unified, and that does mean we could see the Thresh again come out for Kaiwing. I'm not sure if you want to blind pick it against a support like Pop, who has shown that he is willing to play the Lulu, willing to play the Blitzcrank, the Nautilus, any of these champions that can actually challenge the Thresh in lane. They're all in the wheelhouse of Pop.
Oh, but we get a little spicy pickup here. This has been always kind of a throwback for River, as it is going to be the Kindred getting locked in.
Kindred has a fairly good matchup into Graves, of course very telegraphed in her pathing at times because of the way the marks work, but at the same time, you can challenge him in the 1v1s, you can challenge him in the farm game, you can do whatever you want, and River has been on point as of recent, so I'm pretty eager to see just how well he reads Ryan.
Alright, let's see now, what do they wish to go with here? As that is going to be the Thresh getting locked in, and what do they wish to pair up with Golden Feet? Are we actually going to get an Ashe lock-in, or are we going to get kicked out of our champ select? That might be another possibility, as we get a nice little close-up there of Chief.
So, actually speaking of the Ashe, because this is a champion we don't really see much of, she's very much like the Varus, where you essentially don't play lane phase, you just poke from a distance, chill back, and then, you know, fish for a hard engage on your own terms and try for a 2v2 or a cross-map play if you so wish.
We'll see here as you just get word. One of the clients ended up getting kicked out of the lobby, so we'll be remaking that draft. Of course, what you saw on screen was picked, so that will remain locked in. So it does mean we are going to be seeing that Kindred coming out from River, as well as Ryan going to be on that Graves. We get to see some fresh action when it comes to the jungle pool, at least as far as champions go.
Yeah, so Kindred has been seeing play pretty prominently into the Trundle. Not so much into the Graves, but it's still a very, very easily navigatable matchup, provided you just don't sit in the smoke screen and get burst up against a wall. Something I didn't really touch on in Champ Select though is how much I like the interaction between Thresh and Graves in particular. You have so much setup, so much AoE, so much denial of movement and life for the enemy team that if either of those champions gets the other one in a good position, then it's all doom and gloom for whoever they catch out.
You know, I didn't think of life denial being a key aspect when it comes to, you know, Thresh or Graves combo. But hey, you know, the best form of CC is death when it comes to League of Legends. So we'll hopefully get to see some of that combo come out here on the side of Nova. And I'm actually, like, the champ select so far from Nova, I'm actually kind of promising. I like that they're getting some comfort picks. I don't know about that Ashe pickup, and we got to see whether or not that actually got fully locked in. If so, that's almost kind of a throwback to Mixed Cross, as that was one of the kind of pocket picks Mixed Cross used to bring out back at Spring, and Golden Feet being the ones to use it.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, Ashe very much not the lane phased focused AD carry, just kind of chills back, very, very safe, very reliable, and perhaps we're now seeing a lot of faith being put in Golden Feet to just, carry in these team fights where, there was maybe a hint of inconsistency in that role when Mixed Cross was still in the lineup, not to, point any fingers or anything, but now you do have a lot more confidence and flexibility for these 5v5 scenarios on the side of Nova.
Exactly. So we'll see if Nova are going to be able to play into that and what PSG wish to kind of bring out to the table. But for now, we kind of have to wait and see what our draft holds. I want to welcome a Briz to, maybe a commodity you might see here on the PCS,
Oh, I thought you were welcoming me to the PCS, and I was like, okay, midway through Game 3 Champ Select, better late than never.
We could welcome you again if you really want to. I already did. But, for those who might be just joining us and seeing a fresh face, of course, we do have a Briz coming on from the UK joining us, actually. One of the benefits when it comes to the online broadcast, are you just trying to figure out which hand is better for, the frame right now? Is that what we're going with
Yeah,
here?
well, also the microphone arm is in the way, but also I was going to say, when we rehearsed this, you made me say things about myself, and I'm glad you've introduced me now rather than making me talk about myself, because I can talk about League of Legends, I can talk about anime, I can talk about high fashion, but myself? I don't know about that one, Opal.
I'll be frank, yes. For you dudes that joining the chat, Briz is a fashion maniac. Only wears the freshest clothes. He puts Ender to shame, pretty much, in his style choices. I'm actually jealous. Didn't you have one of the LV belts, actually, for League of Legends? You have all the merch.
Yes, I did.
don't get.
Shall I bring it out tomorrow?
No,
maybe not.
No,
but
don't flex it. But I'm so jealous that you have that. I'm like, there's some of that stuff that looks really clean. Well, we're just like, oh, that's a pretty pin, nonetheless. Yeah.
It's actually a women's belt, but yeah, skinny waist gang unite.
See, I have the skinny fat approach going on here. So, I get to pretend I'm skinny, but I have a lot of chub in some places that I kind of have to deal with. It reminds me a little bit of the dad bod, I'm rocking that already, in my mid-20s.
The dad bod because you have your son playing last game too.
Oh boy. So thanks for joining us, Briz. I'd like to introduce everyone to Riku now. Going to be. I saw some people.
Oh, you're pointing at the empty Red Bull Tower. What was once there? Just sorry.
My house is rather empty without it. All right. It was a great room decoration. It was delicious though. So you do what you have to do. Yes, for those that might be wondering, we are going to be having 2 color analysts kind of on our broadcast for English. We're going to be sharing time here, of course, with Riku and Briz. And I know Riku's looking very forward to our Liab matches come at the end of the day. So we said, all right, we'll open up the show here with the Briz and take it from there. Again, always great to have more voices onto the broadcast, and I'm looking forward to having you, be able to show your stuff that you always keep hyping me up to. You're always like, I can't wait to flex and show these people how to cast.
That's called personal branding, Opal.
Personal
actually,
branding.
No, I never say that. Actually,
you've never. I
don't think I've ever said. I think I've been like, let me show you my game knowledge that I accumulate from watching League of Legends nonstop.
And tricking Rumble a little bit too here and there,
One tricking Rumble that doesn't get picked anymore. Also, I play it top, I play it support, and I think 85% of the time it's picked now, it's mid lane. I looked at the stats and I was like, oh, the one lane I don't play. My go-to mid laner was Anivia, and now I just don't play mid lane.
Oh, so you kind of have that fire and ice kind of thing going on here. You got the Rumble,
True.
The Flame Spitter, and then you got Iceberg or Ice Chicken. You would get along.
I think that
you get along with Resilette from the Thai broadcast. He is an Anivia one trick, fully.
If I ever do play mid again, by the way, I would AP Lulu all the way. Just because when I first started playing in Season 2, AP Lulu was like the most obnoxious mid laner to deal with. They've nerfed it horribly, but it's still kind of fun.
Yeah, I remember I think I didn't start playing till Season 3, so I didn't get to, the Season 2, Lulu dominance that came from the mid lane. But I got good news for you, Briz. I see a champ select, and it is going to be the Ashe getting locked in there for Golden Feet.
Wow, this is exactly where we left off.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And we get the Orn pickup there for Hanabi.
Okay, very, very, very safe pick there coming through for Hanabi. If you want to leave him alone like you did in the previous game, this is no Jace. This Ornn does not care at all. And, well, there's a ban on something that would happily scale into the Ornn. It's funny, because Ornn is basically the Kassadin of top lane, where whatever you pick into it has free scaling, and this is what PSG used to their advantage last game against Machi, and this is why they're like, alright, maybe we'll be a little bit more apprehensive as to how much room to breathe we're going to give over to Rocky.
We'll see here now, as there is no Kale getting available there for Nova, or that Mordekaiser. We do see, though, the respect ban coming out from Nova, banning away Candy's LeBlanc.
Yeah, Candy's LeBlanc,
Yeah, I know.
I like it, it's fine, but the issue is that I don't think that it can really impact this bot lane just because Thresh Ashe are so safe. Like, I wouldn't say ungankable, but very, very, very strong at, you know, just being reliable enough that even if you do come bot lane, there's a high chance that they just won't die.
All right, so we get the Zoe lock in here for Candy. That's kind of a little bit into the pool a little bit when it comes to what PSG like to play with, and usually it's kind of his backup when his LeBlanc is getting taken away and they need someone that could do some upfront bursts, but we're already kind of seeing here from Nova a lot of Wombo coming out when it is available, with that Ashe, now Orianna ultimate being available.
Yeah, and so the Zoe coming in as like the third member of that trinity of Syndra, LeBlanc, very, very promising to see it because it has been Candy's standout, but at the same time, into the Orianna, if you're not finding picks consistently, you're just gonna get outscaled in the 5v5 hard engages.
Well, here for PSG, they round out the composition. We're gonna get a cat on a buck. It's the Yuumi getting locked in for Kaiwing instead of being on something like that Thresh for some hard engage. Wants to be just that pocket cat for the Aphelios of Unify.
So I do actually want to talk about these bot lanes in particular because you have the Yuumi that does scale fantastically and turn the Aphelios into a 1v9 machine, or can, you know, be a fair weather friend and just jump onto River if River is doing pretty well. But I'm looking over at the Thresh Ashe, and I mentioned how ungankable it is, but also Hawkshot is so good at finding the enemy jungler, and that lets Graves move in aggressively and actively hunt down the Kindred.
Yeah, well, but this comp also screams, you know, are you going to be able to kill our Aphelios when it comes into the late game? You're going to have an Ornn trying to be that front line. You got the pocket Yuumi for that peel as well as the heal potential. And then, of course, the Kindred, which kind of just screams, okay, even if you get him down to like 100 health, you still can't kill him. And we'll at least try and trade you down so we can at least trade down some bodies if that is the case. The obvious question, though, is going to become, for Golden Feet on your screen right now, how is he going to be able to perform in his very first match with Nova?
Yeah, and I really do like the fact we have the Ashe for him because it's such a prominent power pick when it comes to, you know, slotting into a team. I mentioned about how Tank would fit into the playstyle of PSG. With a TF pick that is hard to execute when you're not on the same page as the rest of your team. Ashe is the TF of Marksman, where you are essentially facilitating everyone else, and that becomes a much taller order if you're not 100% seeing through the same perspective as everyone else. So Golden Feet now, the onus is on him to be on that same page as the rest of his team.
Yeah, we'll have to see. On top of that, too, we get to see Ryan on the Graves to see whether or not he can play those hyper-aggressive junglers. He's not just that tank jungler. Either way, we're going to go ahead, load on into the Rift. It's Nova's first game going up against the spring champions of PSG, looking to make it a 2-0 start to summer. I'm just saying our OBs are having way too much fun with the soundtrack of Summer already, as well as the cam. I'm loving it. Great start here as Nova, ooh, getting hyper aggressive here, going for an invade early.
Okay, pretty intriguing is the fact that Kaiwing decided to not opt for any potions, but also, by the looks of things, didn't actually drop a pink ward. Okay, he's opting for one potion because he's like, all right, I maybe do need a little bit of sustain in this matchup. Okay, it would have been cool if he started with a pink ward and just kind of dissuaded Ryan from actively making this Kindred's life hell early, but as we said, Nova, their comp in particular, relying on a lot of control and a lot of transitioning into these 5v5s.
You see, Nova's still trying to set up for a play here. They've brought over Golden Feed and Pop. That is a Thresh, and with Ryan there too, the invade is going to come through. I do believe they understand they are on top of a ward, so that does give knowledge over to River, and if he really wants to, can try and at least answer, especially the fact that they saw Rocky was actually waiting over on blue buff too.
This is a very LCK-esque composition from Nova, where they focus on the 5v5. They focused on the more controlled gameplay, and you mentioned that Graves, maybe a hyper-aggressive jungler, but when he's the only one on his team being aggressive, it does kind of put the onus on Nova to still kind of scale up towards their comfort zone.
So with that, River is at least going to be able to equal out the buffs. Hell, we do see that it looks like Ryan just wants to go for a full clear of that top side. And we'll see which side of the map River gets to at least play on. You know, if he's going to get that mark onto which scuttle, if he's going to get lucky. It's never feels good if it ends up going to that bot scuttle, especially with Graves already having priority down in the bot lane.
So something to note is that we should see these laners still... Okay, good hook shot. I like it. You spot out the Kindred. But also, something to note is the fact that you should see these junglers still continue to opt into the vertical jungling for as long as possible. And the fact that they are full clearing the camps that they are taking is a good indication of that. They're saying, look, we're not going to counter jungle you and just leave you with one small creep in those monster camps, and instead we're gonna go for the full clear. Oh, actually, River left a small wolf up, so that means the Kindred doesn't want to visit the Graves topside jungle anymore, but the Graves still wants to pressure on that bot side of PSG's jungle.
You can see here, Rocky's getting pretty low. Hanabi's been able to find some good trades, and now River can easily come on over the wall. Rocky's going to at least try and jump away, ends up popping the flash. River still wants to try and find him. Under the tower he will go, and it looks like Rocky... Hello, River, what are you doing? He's stuck in the minions. He can't finish off the kill.
That looked like as free kills you were ever gonna get for this Kindred, but no, a complete fumble from the jungler of PSG, and this gives a lot of room for Ryan to just full clear his jungle, get a Scuttle Crab to boot, and it gives Rocky an avenue back into a lane he was being bullied out of as an Aatrox into an Ornn.
So unfortunately... That feels bad if you're on the side of PSG. Like we mentioned, that should have been the freest kill, but River gets stuck on the minions, and that creep block can get even some of the best. So a missed opportunity. He did get lucky, though, and get himself the mark onto the top scuttle, so he's able to at least secure that, and it's not a feels bad moment for PSG.
So mid lane's actually a huge skill matchup right now, and the fact they both went for Spellbook plus TP as their main summoner spells does mean that we're probably just going to see them scale up as well. So I'm looking for these big skirmishes around neutral objectives.
You already see Candy trying to put down some deeper vision into the jungle of Ryan. They want to say, all right, if we maybe can get a catch on him, that might be an opportunity, because of course that bubble can go a decent distance through the walls. Already though, Ryan's going to clear out that ward as they did see it, and Candy, unfortunately, not going to be able to have that knowledge anymore.
So I'm looking towards the bottom half of the map now, and I'm seeing that the Ashe Thresh lane has a lot of priority, and that allows Pop to move up, go for the invade, and this is exactly what we said, that Ryan full cleared those camps on that initial invade, meaning he wanted to invade again and really make this Kindred's farming life hell. And Kindred is all about farming. She wants 4 marks before 20 minutes so she can really contribute to these mid-game team fights with the additional range that she will hopefully have.
So Ryan just keeping up that pressure there. Meanwhile, this bot lane, we mentioned we wanted to see how Golden Feet is going to perform up against Unified and Kaiwing? Well, we might have to hold on for a quick sec, as now River going to make another appearance. He says, all right, Rocky does not have the flash anymore. Gets himself into the brush. Flash forward coming out from Hanabi. Going to find that knock-up, and there you go. First blood onto the Ornn.
Ryan's going to answer with the Drake, though, and this is something I love to see. This is something junglers in this region, as I mentioned before, struggled with in spring. They don't take the early Drakes, but this time around, Ryan says, I'm going to read you like a book again, and I'm going to get this free objective.
Pop was actually able to force out a cleanse here off Unified, getting the hook.
Nicely done from the bot lane of Nova there.
Yeah, so nicely done here. I think Nova, they're rather happy. River, though, gets a nice little break, too, on top of getting that kill. Even though he didn't mark Rocky, he did at least get the Grom.
Yeah, this was a bit shaky just because Hanabi wasn't quite level 6 yet. Would have been a much cleaner execution had he been. Fortunately enough, though, they do pick up that kill anyway. And yeah, we looked at the top lane, we looked at the bot lane, we looked at the mid lane, we looked at the jungle. I want to look at the bot lane again because it's just twigged with me that Kaiwing's not on a playmaker. Kaiwing is not on a big roamer, and Kaiwing being that consistent support carry has been a lot of PSG's dominance.
For sure, yeah. We don't see him like on a Thresh or even a Nautilus. Instead, he's Cat. He has to go with people. That's the only time he can really roam at that point. Let's see here, though. Looks like PSG looking to maybe spring a trap onto Rocky. Looks like they were against it, as River just decides, all right, I'm going to go back into my jungle and continue farming away and trying to get it clear.
River now just racking up the marks where possible. As we mentioned before, once 4 by 20 minutes. 2 at 7 minutes isn't too awful, benefiting from the fact that the Graves just seeded the topside jungle pretty much permanently for this Kindred to take whenever possible. Mid lane, still a farm matchup. I don't expect too much pressure in the 1v1, rather wait for the junglers to decide to show their faces here.
Now G4, especially the last time we saw him on the Orianna, wasn't really known for, of course, getting his solo kills in the lane. Did have some good shockwaves, though, and we did see it back in spring, so that's kind of the play that Nova are looking to try and do here. Try and, you know, get the ball onto Rocky, try and get him into the back line and maybe find a massive combo, or maybe get a good pick with that Crystal Arrow from Golden Feet, as, yeah, that bot lane still dead even at this point, and I think Nova are going to be very happy considering this was never the norm for spring.
Yeah, and especially considering the fact that Ashe is very much a neutralizing lane. You're playing back, you're farming up, you're trying to poke from a distance and scale up to these team fights. Just talking of team fights, by the way, something we didn't really touch on in Champ Select was that Rocky's go-to answer to the Ornn was this Aatrox. Aatrox, if he gets the reset off of a sick Ashe engage into the Graves Orianna combo, he can just steamroll through a fight.
You saw there the roam coming out from Nova. They were looking for a possible play, but instead they just decide, all right, we'll get the pressure in mid and then immediately go for this Rift Herald, as they are the first ones started off trying to take that one away from PSG. And if they are able to, they'd claim both first neutral objectives when it comes to the pits.
Yeah, Ashe's ability to farm safely from a distance really going to pay dividends here as to unlocking this support from Pop. Pop on the Thresh, pressured mid a bit, now just lingering around this Herald so that PSG can't respond, but they're here now.
And they also brought the Cat along, as River ended up picking up Kaiwing. So with that, PSG are able to actually interrupt this Rift Herald attempt from Nova. Now Pop still sticking by. There is still G4. Ended up using the Shockwave.
It's a 5v5.
I think he missed the Shockwave. No Shockwave available for G4. He tried to pick off Unified and ended up Mike costing him his can. He's able to land the bubble. Pop is going to try and do what he can. That's the cleanse finally coming out. Gets himself over the wall away from the call to Forge God. PSG are not going to be able to pick up a kill, but they do get the pressure back onto the Rift Herald.
Yeah, that pressure is really going to come up huge for them. The Orianna in no position to fight there. G4 kind of throwing that away. You had Golden Feet even neglect the bot wave, just run straight up to try and salvage that with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow Wombo combo play, but with no Shockwave to be found, it means Nova's time investment is wasted, and now PSG are able to pick up what is, for all intents and purposes, a very free Rift Herald.
Ooh. G4 also getting whacked here by Paddle Stars, and You see Candy starting to feel a little bit more confident, willing to try and get some poke down onto G4, and can already see that pressure starting to build as he's forced to go back to base.
Candy now continuing to apply this, but it's been all about that 1v1 so far. There's no kill pressure in this matchup, probably, unless someone misplays massively. It's not outside the realm of possibility, because we've seen how inconsistent these players can be. But at the same time, now that the Zoe has a solid reset, I expect her to rotate around the map and punish the fact that Orianna, while being insane at wave clear and being a very, very good team fighter, is one of the least mobile mid laners in the game.
Ton of pings, though, coming out here as PSG looking for a play. Pop is maybe getting pretty aggressive himself, wants to try and maybe look for a hook. Unified actually caught out towards the side, has to be careful, ends up forcing the cleanse immediately off the arrow. Unfortunately for him, he'll be able to get himself back to safety with his ultimate being popped, as well as the flash and cleanse, so absolutely no safety left, but that's the perk of having a Yuumi, still having that exhaust and heal available for the next fight.
Yeah, the hook going wide there, kind of unfortunate for Pop. And yeah, Unified played Aphelios there like he was a Xayah. Just popped the ult and then immediately flashed back. And it was about all he could do to get out of that. But Nova, with that pressure, able to try and contest this Mountain Drake.
Well, you see, PSG still want to try and go for this 50-50. Who's going to end up taking it? It goes on over to Ryan as River unable to find the steal. Candy over the wall, looking for the Paddle Star, not going to find it. Does get the bubble onto Golden Feet, but he'll be safe as Candy decides to disengage.
Cloud Soul again, fairly underwhelming, but also consider the fact that Nova's comp are all about the ultimates. You have collateral damage, command shockwave, enchanted crystal arrow, the box and massacre for good measure, and suddenly this is a really scary composition.
And there you go. You're getting some gold back onto Unified. And even though they weren't able to get a massive advantage in lane, it's going to start building with those turret plates being taken. You can still see that pressure looking to mount. Is River still staying by? Waiting to see whether or not Ryan wants to try and make a play here, but it looks like both teams just want to disengage as Unified crashes the wave.
Yeah, this Ashe still scaling up, can't actually move up too far. Credit to Golden Feet for actually weathering the storm that should be the insane amount of harass coming through from this Zoe plus Aphelios composition. And I'm looking for the Blade of the Ruined King to come through before they really start to fish for any real big plays. Everyone on Nova spikes at 2 items, while everyone on PSG just comes online really whenever they want. You have the Ornn items that need to come online later. You have the fact that Kindred needs a certain amount of marks rather than strictly gold or experience. And then you're just fishing for picks with everyone else on this team.
Turret plating going to be going down here in a quick sec. We saw there River just farming away his Gromps. Ryan going to do the same. Is now maybe looking to position toward the top side of the map. Unified has actually gone for the lane swap already, so this is kind of screaming that, you know what, PSG, second Rift Herald, they want to have full members up toward the top side of the map with Hanabi's teleport still being available.
Yeah, Hanabi just crashing this bot lane wave as well means that Rocky, again, on the back foot. Gank aside, Rocky was already struggling in that lane, and you have to remember, this is an Aatrox that was opted to take into that, but his shockwave.
Yeah, G4 wants to get aggressive. Unfortunately, still running a little bit low on mana. Is going to head off back as Candy should be able to do the same. Both members have teleport, so... But you see G4 feeling confident, saying, all right, if we can try and harass Candy out, maybe you can try and find an advantage for an ensuing fight.
Yeah, the thing about this is that even if they both match each other's TPs towards the mid lane, Orianna no longer has shockwave. Granted, past level 11 and with the GLP in pocket, it's actually only on like a 60-second total cooldown anyway, so it's not too terrible. Golden Feet a bit brave.
Big bait, that's a big bait. They knew the entire time. They brought Unified out of the Kindred ultimate, and that's going to be the kill going on over to Pop as River forced the flash away, trying to find himself back to safety. Collateral damage
Ryan?
coming out. Q, though, does not land onto his target, and with the Yuumi, Kaiwing is able to keep his jungle alive.
Yeah, really, really clean execution coming through from Nova there. They baited in PSG, got unified out of the Lamb's Respite, and just knocked down that Aphelios. Almost a pickup onto River as well, but the Yuumi surprisingly helpful with the heals, with the zoomies, and suddenly you don't feel all that bad about not having Kaiwing on a playmaker.
Candy? Woo! Gets himself to safety. Ryan's nearby, and there is that Yuumi once again. The shield was able to eat up a little bit of damage, and G4, he wants this damn kill. Candy goes back over the wall. They can't kill the Zoe, and now River's going to be the new target. Kaiwing's now left out to dry, but he'll get himself back to safety as Ryan doesn't want to pursue any further.
I felt so bad for the Graves at the start of that. Q going wide again 3 times, just narrowly missing out on a kill. Eventually hunts down the Kindred, eventually shuts down River, and G4, the catalyst to that play, with the huge commitment onto Candy, despite the 1v3 in the mid lane.
Candy, though, somehow gets out of there, saving Private Zoe, it seemed, as Kaiwing was able to get back and get some shielding, and at least we're not seeing Kaiwing be a major playmaker as far as engage go, but he has saved the lives of multiple members of his team in back-to-back fights and is actually keeping the gold pretty much even because of it.
Yeah, and here's just a replay of the top sequence of events. You saw that the Ashe looked like she was farming alone, but suddenly there's Ryan and Pop to deal with. This dual threat of the jungle and support really showing up to back up Golden Feet. And then, yeah, when you find the pick with the arrow, it's a free hook, it's a free collateral damage, it's a ton of front-loaded burst that you can't really respond to with sustain from the Yuumi.
We'll see, though. Nova looking to position themselves for their 3rd dragon of the game, but PSG are here to answer. As Candy just popping on over the wall, throwing away some paddle stars, looking to maybe find a quick pick onto one of these members of Nova. Golden Feet still waiting on that level 11, is going to hit it quite shortly.
I mean, we're talking about how Nova have the picks, how Nova have, like, sick plays, but you have unified on his Aphelios.
That's going to force Candy again, puts the cleanse out because he picked it out on the previous fight. So even with the collateral damage, not able to find the kill. Pop's got to be a little bit careful. Nova a little bit scattered at the moment, but we'll see. G4 still has Shockwave available, and you can tell they kind of want to go for a fight here in this choke point to see whether or not they're able to find it. G4 looking to sneak the ball actually within the wall. Hanabi is going to be able to get himself back to safety. Candy goes on over the wall, but Nova now with position onto Dragon.
Yeah, Nova now looking to set up for this, but PSG are actually going to fight for it.
Let's see, G4 puts down the ball in the middle over the pit. He steals away the Dragon. Shockwave lands onto Candy, but that's the only member. Unified still very healthy. Rocky, though, finds himself the reset, and Nova find themselves 3 kills. And even though they lost out on the Dragon, they'll be happy picking up the bodies of PSG as Hanabi now has to run away. Kaiwing knows his fate. He detaches, but unfortunately, the poor cat has nowhere to run underneath the tower. He's going to try and do some happy dancing, some happy feet. Actually, Ryan? Hello? Oh no! Ryan was able to finish off the kill. Rocky can't do it either, and Kaiwing can survive.
You can't tower dive with Graves because the tower blocks his autos. The shotgun can't hit champions through turrets. It's really well played by Kaiwing there, but that was not a good series of events. Anyway, though, Nova get this fight win after losing the Drake. I believe 60 health was the break point. Yeah, really, really unfortunate there. Candy still dishing out formidable damage despite being practically from the get-go. A stolen blade, the amount of mana for a single paddle star, followed by the passive of more sparkles. Almost knocks down G4, but why are you focusing the Orianna with no shockwave and letting everyone else just run rampant in your backline?
And you know what? I like this Nova. I like this confident, aggressive Nova looking to try and take some fights. I like G4 on this Orianna. This is a nice little start to the summer split for them.
Yeah, Nova definitely taking it to our reigning champions here, really challenging them to step up across the board. Ryan in particular on this Graves, which we, kind of wrote him off as a tank player, utility focused. He still played kind of utility-centric with, opting into the vertical jungling, being very intelligent about the way he played things out, but he's being very, very, very comfortable on an otherwise very carry-centric champion.
see here now, it's kind of the wait game, I guess you could say, for PSG, is you're waiting for Unified to at least come online with this Aphelios. He has at least finished off his Infinity Edge and starting to work toward his second crit item. But at the moment, you can tell that Nova aren't afraid to try and go for this. You got Bork completed there for Golden Feet, looking to work toward his next crit item as Nova maybe looking for a collapse here. If PSG do not respect it, but Hanabi waiting below, maybe seeing if there's an in-game.
Yeah, definitely could be a possible call of the Forge God if you really want to fish for it. But as well as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and Shockwave being beautiful engage tools, they're also fantastic disengage ones too. The box as well, just a lot going for this Nova lineup when it comes to executing on the 5v5s, while PSG kind of drafted themselves into a corner where the only side laner they have is the Zoe, who is essentially food for whoever Nova chooses to send to get on top of it.
There we go. Nova are going to send G4 and Rocky, actually. G4 and Ryan toward that top side. Candy, though, can clear out the waves pretty confidently. You see River maybe looking for a flank, but lots of pings on either side. Both PSG realizing that, hey, we don't need to push on forward. We don't need to force plays just yet. There's still some time before this Aphelios comes online. And as long as Nova isn't necessarily punishing them and, you know, taking down Kaiwing non-stop every team fight, if they're finding little points of breather like this here, I think they're happy. Definitely
Gonna be a little bit grateful for the fact that this surprisingly brutal early game is, you know, having the foot taken off the pedal just a little bit. And we're waiting for River to get his 4 stacks, waiting for River to be able to navigate these fights. I can't actually see how many stacks River does have right now, but
I can't see
assuming
it either,
okay, yeah, assuming that
I think he's currently sitting on 5 or 6 from the looks of it.
Okay, then he can teamfight if he so wishes. But does he want to? That's the question. Ooh.
Spooky. Next episode of PCS, find out the conclusion. Oh boy.
Spooky like this Umbral Glaive really choking out the vision from Ryan here, just completely nullifying PSG's attempts, kind of getting indication of where this Thresh could be, where this Ashe could be. And playing against Fog of War when you have like on-demand hard CC from an entire map away like the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, very, very, very difficult for PSG, and that's why you see them rocking up with 1 cleanse on Unified and an extra 1 to boot from Candy.
Some decent damage though coming out here. Both sides want to try and go for a fight, but it's just going to be the bubble landing onto Pop. Meanwhile, top lane is just G4 pushing.
G4?
Anybody going to stop G4? G4 has just become a split push Orianna. PSG are going to let this happen.
I trade Drake, Cloud Drake for top inhib any day of the week. What? No one's side lanes with Orianna nowadays, but okay, I'll take it. Sure, why not? G4 credit to him. It's not like he's being matched at all.
Yeah, luckily, I guess for PSG, he's not going to go on the PoE style of build where he builds in that Nashor's Tooth to try and get some extra attack speed into it. But yeah, I guess Nova are happy saying, all right, you know what? We already were able to take the first 2 dragons of the game. Maybe they just don't see the benefit of having Cloud Soul. And we're like, all right, we'd rather just try and get some of the freestanding gold on the map.
Credit to PSG for cutting their losses there, though, saying, look, let's take the Cloud Drake so Dragon Soul doesn't become not necessarily a win condition because it is still Cloud Soul, but yeah, just building themselves towards what little of a mid game they maybe can right now, just trying to hold it out for the later stages.
Back we go. Nova themselves also looking to pick up some gold down from this bot lane tower as Rocky's been whacking away on it for the last 20 minutes. We'll finally get that themselves. Pick up some extra gold. Mid lane also getting some pressure. Unified, though, has started to get a little bit scary. Now we start to see that Runans come online. He's also actually picked up another cloak, so he's sitting on about 70% crit chance, too. So this Aphelios, now that these team fights are going to start getting underway, he'll start being able to dish out a ton of damage.
Yeah, that cloak gonna be built towards a Phantom Dancer, you have to imagine, and suddenly with a Phantom Dancer plus a Yumi, it's like an even more unkillable Death's Dance.
G4, he went the very long route here, trying to escape away from Candy. Kaiwing also going to pop his ultimate. Oh! Almost able to get the kill on River. Both of them trying to flash away. River going down low, trying to hold on to his ultimate as long as possible. Kaiwing's able to find the kill. Call of Forge God going to come out, and oh no, Coldenby gets caught out himself. He gets himself pretty far low. Unfortunately, he'll get taken down by the Moonlight Visual coming out from the Aphelios. And like that, PSG, they're able to find one pick in their favor.
Bubble!
Able to land the bubble over the wall. Does Candy go? Can't find the kill, but they'll turn back and focus toward the Baron.
Yeah, one big throw there for the side of Nova. It looks so good. And then G4 gets caught mid-rotation. The Ash Arrow comes through to try and save him, goes wide, River plays it well, positions himself and Kaiwing beautifully, and they pick up the carries, and they pick up the Baron to boot. PSG now back in control of this game.
And they kind of nullified any momentum that we were feeling from Nova's G4. He was trying to go back and do his split push. Unfortunately, the collapse from PSG is just there before the rest of the squad can come and answer.
The strange thing is that he's split pushing on the side of the map that everyone is playing towards anyway, because Baron's up, Dragon's down. So if you do that, it's pretty obvious that once you push up past a point, the rest of the enemy team that are floating around that big neutral objective are just going to rotate up for you. You're not drawing pressure away from that side of the map. You're just overextending on the point of the map where you know the entire enemy team are going to be, because they can't be anywhere else. It's just the Baron. The Baron was the focal point there, so you knew that PSG were going to be floating around that area.
And unfortunately here for Nova too, even though they have a small gold advantage, you're at 26 minutes. 1,000 gold don't mean a whole lot, especially when you're going up against an Orin, which I see 4 ornaments on the scoreboard now. That's an extra efficiency of about 1,000 gold apiece. And unfortunately now it's just not looking as good as, again, another bubble will land onto G4. Call the Forge God just there to zone them off the tower. Rocky at least trying to do what he can up in this top lane.
Yeah, credit to the solo laners of Nova for keeping up this pressure. Granted, G4 did kind of fumble the lead that he built for the team in the previous skirmish, but at the end of the day, PSG, even with the Baron buff under their belts, aren't able to pressure out too much, and while they will claim a couple of turrets here and there, the base isn't quite yet under threat, but Ryan may very well be.
Ryan, he's got the squad coming after him. Unfortunately, that is going to be 4 members of PSG on top of him. Tries to get the damage onto River. It's not going to happen. The shutdown goes on over to the Kindred.
I mean, okay. Ryan did the exact same thing that G4 did, except fortunately this time there's no Baron to take in response. So Nova, I guess, I don't want to say they're falling apart in terms of, you know, macro, in terms of shot calling, but after what looked like a very promising early game, you're now seeing a team, once they're actually faced with adversity, just fold. And that's maybe where some of the newer iterations of certain rosters do start to look a little bit shaky compared to our champions of last split.
And you saw there in the picture-in-picture, that's going to be the 3rd dragon secured for PSG, now sitting on 3 Cloud Souls. It's a lot of CDR for your ultimate.
You know, the Kindred ult, base CD at level 6 is like 3 minutes. She's got rank 2 in it, so it's down to what? I think like 240? No, not 240, that's 4 minutes. It's, no. I think it's probably down to like 2.5 minutes. Then you have 20% CDR from Black Cleaver, plus the Cloud Drakes, and suddenly this Kindred ult becomes a lot more accessible for these skirmishes.
Oh, Rocky makes a surprise there for Candy. Candy, though, able to get himself back to safety. G4 was the one that actually teleported on in. Unify going down low. Arrow will land, but they take down Ryan before Nova can pull the trigger. And now they need to start running back as Hanabi looking for that ultimate call to Forge God. Able to get the slow onto 2 members. Gets the knock up underneath the tower. G4 gets himself back to safety. And just this across-the-map engage that is available from Hanabi, able to help turn the tides.
G4 fishing for that shockwave non-stop. You could see it. He was itching to pull the trigger, but he knew Unified had flash. He knew Candy had flash. He knew that the carries he so desperately wanted to lock up in that would just get out of it. And Nova, while trying to force that, lose the fight, lose 2 turrets top, and lose map pressure across the board right now.
And there you go, just like that. Even though Nova had a 1,000 gold lead, 2 towers and a pick here and there has now costed them over 3,000 in return off that Baron call. And there you go, even with that jump, Rocky still not able to find the kill on Candy as he escapes.
The arrow looked kind of clean, not gonna lie. It hit Unified with the Yumi in pocket. That's like 2 stuns for the price of 1. But end of the Unified with the flash of Aphelios T-pose. Why not? Yeah, why not? But yeah, really just good discipline coming through from PSG there. But credit to Nova for still attempting to find these plates.
So a nice job there. It's PSG now 2.5 minutes until the next Dragon. Brian, unfortunately, getting picked off there by the bubble, loses out his spell shield. And now the pressure is going to start mounting as we do have Baron spawning before the next Cloud Drake even joins us on the Rift within the next minute.
Definitely do have to take that into consideration here. Granted, for the side of Nova, I'd say you're pretty happy just kind of trying to farm up over the course of the next couple of minutes, and then think about if you want to contest that Cloud Drake or not. Maybe you get the miracle pick with the Ash Arrow, maybe you find a good Thresh Hook, maybe you find a beautiful Shockwave, but the way they've been playing the past few fights has not been the way, whether that was Ryan just dashing in by himself, getting caught out, or whether that was the fact they were just disjointed across the board.
Well, there we go. Blue buff is going to be secured here by G4. As they get a little bit of an invade onto PSG's side. PSG looking a little bit calm here. But for now, next Baron is available if they wish to go for it. Feel that the team is confident. Hanabi's just going to answer Rocky's split push down in the bot lane as they go ahead and try and get control over toward the river.
Yeah, control of the river going to be pretty important. You can find picks with Zoe like this one.
Oh,
just
boy.
Body blocking!
I don't know who got picked there. Candy, though, has himself a pocket cleanse on top of his normal cleanse still. Damn hard to find the pick on Candy. Shockwave does force out River's flash, and now maybe an engage coming back and forth as both teams starting to lose out on their engage tools. Hanabi, though, with a massive teleport flank, gets in behind multiple members of Nova. Golden Feet pinned up toward the side of the pillar, still not able to actually find the kill on the Ashe, though, as Rocky also looked to rejoin the fight. PSG, though, with the pressure in mid lane.
Yeah, PSG continuing with that push up here, just applying the pressure after turning that fight around. Really good flash again from River to get out of that Shockwave, to get himself into a better position, and to start applying the pressure as a unit onto this Baron Nashor. Contest coming through though, TP coming through.
Teleport is there. G4 is taking all the damage from the turret from the Aphelios. G4 flashing on forward, finds himself a multi-man Shockwave. Is it enough, though? Because unfortunately, they get turned upon as Rocky gets taken down, and a big play trying to come out from the Orianna is just not enough, and now the hunt's still there. River almost gets taken down, doesn't even use his ultimate off the collateral damage from Ryan, and the chase continues. Candy able to find a bubble. Golden Feet has to pop his cleanse. There's the double knockup, but PSG too far away to continue for the chase.
Yeah, PSG now just going to look towards this Cloud Drake, a much easier objective to secure than that Baron. Ryan does something with the blast cone there.
Teleport coming out from G4, looking for a wide flank, finds Candy inside the pit. They're able to get the shutdown, though. Candy able to get himself within range of the Kindred ultimate. Shockwave comes back off cooldown, but it's just not enough. And now G4 is running for the hills as it was a triple kill for Unified. And it looks like he's going to make it a nice and clean quadra kill on the Aphelios as he's dominating for PSG.
G4, the attempted hero play there, could not find much of anything. No wombo combo to be found because no ults being stacked. One by one, Nova pop their cooldowns. One by one, Nova drop in that fight. And one by one, these huge neutral objectives are being taken up by PSG.
And there we go. Once again, it's going to get started off here as Unified able to just rip this apart. finishing off his Phantom Dancer on their most recent back. Also going to get that Death's Dance, and the question now becomes, is this going to be the nail in the coffin here for Nova, as they now need to hope that they can solve the game, maybe find a miracle Elder Dragon fight.
Yeah, and here's just how this played out. It was initially just a lot of damage and poke coming out of the Zoe, and then the TP flank from G4 was where we were looking, but also if you pay attention to the fact that River got a very, very, very clean Lamb's Respite. Shockwave was nice, it waited out for the Zoe to come back, but it wasn't enough to actually knock anyone down, and the Orianna damage, while nice, is not enough to carry a fight by itself. Very much a facilitating champion, and with the Ashe out of the fight and the Aatrox never really in a position to get in there, not much follow-up for G4 on this Orianna.
So now it's base defense time here for Nova. As they're going to try and soak up as much pressure. Unified though, ooh, those are a lot of crits coming through. And also the Death Stance completed. So with that and a pocket Yuumi, it's going to be near unkillable, this Aphelios. And Call of Forge God once again popped by Hanabi with 4 Cloud Drakes. It's going to be off cooldown relatively quickly, even though he's built no CDR. And oh! That poor arrow ends up splitting the uprights, as not able to find anyone on PSG.
Hey, it almost hit the top inhib that's been exposed for the past 15 minutes with no real threat onto it, but hey, yeah, we take those if we're PSG, I guess. 4 Cloud Drakes in pocket, they can engage on demand. Call of the Forge God, actually not all that long a cooldown anyway, up in about 20 seconds, but why would they wait for it?
Engage coming out from Hanabi, finds himself a double knockup. G4 all over toward the side. Unfortunately, he's going to get tagged and he's going to get taken down. Unified's godlike, and he pushes forward with a triple kill. Oh, he's looking for it. He wants himself a penta to start off the damn split. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough. Are they actually going to fully dive for this underneath the turret? They still need to take it. Unified, oh, there's the sad B in the very end. But nonetheless, it is PSG cleaning up house once again as they take down Nova after what looked like an okay early game from the Thai-based organization. Unfortunately, it's just not enough as PSG go 2-0 on day 1.
And that game looked so promising for Nova at the start of it, but you're seeing why PSG are made of what makes up champions, why they are champions, why they are able to weather that storm of an awful early to mid game. They come back, they run with what they're given, and they just close it out.
There you go. PSG now get to sit 2-0 on their start here for summer, and not a bad start to say the very least. Again, we do have to, give credit over to Nova though. That early game looks promising. It looks like something that you can work with and build upon and maybe be able to come back against PSG in the second half of the round robin.
I was pleasantly surprised with Nova's early in particular, and just looking at the fact that Ryan's diversified his champ pool. You have Golden Feet coming in on an Ashe, which isn't necessarily the most easy of champions to execute in certain compositions. You had Pop unlocked, and actually G4 just kind of playing solo queue, but at the same time, why not? He's got the mechanical prowess.
Trying to do what he can. We did see him split push Orianna for the first part of that game. It worked out. He at least got an inhibitor tower. But unfortunately, too, I think there was such, trigger-happy decisions, even coming out from G4, where he's like, I have to make the flash shockwave play. I have to be the one that makes it, instead of waiting for the rest of his squad to kind of come back. And it just gave PSG the tools to at least turn around a lot of these fights that looked like they could have went in Nova's favor.
Yeah, really had to sync up the ultimates for the Wombo combo and find some crucial picks rather than whatever this is. This was so frustrating. Why are you split pushing on the same side of the map that the entire enemy team are going to be on? It's clear that the Baron is the hot point of contention. It's clear that PSG have focused on this top side. That's why your team has no vision of that quadrant. And it's clear that if you move up too far, you're just going to be food for whoever decides to come up to kill you. In this case, the entire PSG team.
And MVP for that game is going to be Unified on the Aphelios. Why not He was very close to getting himself a penta. He probably could have if
Twice.
his team, you know.
Twice he was very close to a penta.
Yeah, twice. This is why we always get concerned when we see Unified lock in the Aphelios, because the enemy team, usually they're not going to have a good day in most cases.
I think the Ashe was a decent adaptation towards it just by not letting it play the lane phase so much. It's just, yeah, Unified, you cannot count out of these late game team fights. He shows up and he puts up. He puts his money where his mouth is. He puts his, like, all the guns that Aphelios has where he needs to. And yeah, just really, really, really good play from a marksman that we do talk about quite a bit, but maybe not as much as the rest of his team.
Well, there's a caster that I know, and there's actually a couple casters that asked, you know, what is the best color of guns? And I know someone responded, well, it doesn't matter because the enemies will always be seeing gray at the end of the day, especially with Unified at the helm. So congratulations over, of course, to PSG. They open up their summer split on day one with a 2-0, going undefeated and looking clean as ever. At least in the later part of the game. Early game, that one, I give it over to Nova. And I think for Nova, that's a takeaway, at least for this loss, that they could say, hey, you know what? Early game, we looked all right. We can always try and turn it back around and use this into some other matches.
Yeah, definitely very, very promising showing from Nova. Perhaps may see them contest Berjaya. Perhaps may see them contest AHQ, maybe even Machi for these top seeds. But of course, it is PSG that do sit not uncontested, but still head and shoulders above the competition at that #1 spot.
Yeah, and that takes us now to the midway point of our day so far, as our next match is, of course, going to be Resurgence taking on Machi. So Machi, they get to play twice, of course, on their first day, and we'll see whether or not they can actually do their best to go 1-1. And for Resurgence too, it's very interesting. We have Jensen coming back into Southeast Asia as a coach, trying to see whether or not he can help bring this Resurgence squad to victory in their first showing against Machi. That's a tall order, I'm not going to say. An easy one, to say the very least. You're going up against Machi, who themselves look rather clean against every squad but Talon in most situations. So we'll see how that one's going to play out. I do believe we'll have a post-match interview with one of the members of course, PSG, so we'll be waiting on that, and we'll get, of course, Patty to help bring you guys the info regarding that. But, Briz, this is the end of your day so far. What have you at least been pleasantly surprised to see when it comes to the PCS?
Pleasantly surprised by Nova in particular, yeah. I like them there. I think next game, as you mentioned there, is going to be really intriguing to see because it's going to be a test for Machi. Can they blow a team lower than them out of the water completely? Or was their dismantling by PSG perhaps an indication that second seed in this league is actually up for grabs?
Yeah, and that's a very scary aspect to think if you're Machi, because you always look so clean when it came to spring in particular. Their first round robin at times was maybe iffy here or there, but nonetheless, we have the man himself, Unified, taking the interview, so we'll throw it on over to Patty to help with the translation.
上场的是 Candy， 整个队伍风格也改变了相当大，你们节奏其实变得比较慢了。你们是不是在尝试一些新的阵容组合呢？那你们平常这种换人的练习状况是怎么样？
So you guys had Candy in for mid in this match. Are you guys trying out different lineups because your team style changed a lot? Or what is it like during practice?
我觉得风格其实差不多，只是可能团练的效果可能比较有多的变化这样。
I think our style is pretty much the same, but we have different composition. We can use different compositions because we have another player to use.
好，那第二题的话，想要请问一下 Unify， 就是你刚刚的对手就是 Golden Fee， 他原本是这个 LSTSS 的一个下路，那他这一季刚加入 Nova， 那你刚刚这场打完之后，你有觉得整体上 Nova 的风格跟春季比起来有什么不一样的地方吗？
So you guys played against Golden Fee today, and he was LSTC Serpents' bot lane last season. He just joined Nova Esports this season. So did you find any changes in Nova Esports' play style?
我觉得他们风格变化还蛮大的，因为之前他们是打上路的，现在转为打下路这样。
I think they changed a lot actually. They used to center around top, and now they center around bottom. So I think their style changed a lot.
好的，非常感谢 Unify， 也再次恭喜 PSG 拿到了一个2连胜。 那我们感谢那个访问，感谢访问的姐姐之后，马上要准备结束今天上半场的一个赛程，也看到了
And a
PSG
special thank you
不只是
over
换
there
了
to
一个
Patty
非
as
常
well
强
as
的位置。
Unified for taking the time to take an interview. And even himself, he said, you know what? Novas kind of feel like a different team. He even mentioned that it felt like the team was willing to play a little bit more around Golden Feet, and that might be a good sign for Nova at least.
Golden Foot.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
Our
bullying the
editor is
graphic
already
team.
crying on
I'm
Twitter,
sorry.
all right, Abriz?
I know. I know. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, really, really promising from Nova, and that's why, again, I'm looking at Machi in the next game to actually show that they have what it takes to be, a clear cut above everyone else not named PSG. Otherwise, we could genuinely see Nova, over the course of the split, once they have some more synergy under their belt, actively contest for the World seed, the second one granted after PSG, but still, Worlds is Worlds.
Yeah, Worlds is Worlds, and you know what? Maybe G4's prediction, he said, you know what? We're aiming top 4. We think we can do top 4. We'll have to see whether or not they're able to translate some of this play style into those matchups, like you mentioned, against Machi or against AHQ. We, though, are going to go for a short break. When we come back, it is going to be our matchup, of course, between Resurgence as well as Machi.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.